The arrival of a new season of Netflix's Drive to Survive increasingly feels like an essential component of the build-up to a new World Championship, and yet the series is only in its third year. The paddock dwellers have evidently grown wary of the presence of Drive to Survive cameras. Compared to last year, there are noticeably more shots of drivers and team bosses acknowledging the presence of the lurking Netflix microphones. But that's also to be expected for one obvious reason. The pandemic made working arrangements for Netflix more complicated than usual, as team members were stripped back to bare minimum, with far fewer people in the paddock. The box-to-box team, who produced Drive to Survive, were inevitably more conspicuous by their presence this year. The simple fact that there were less paddock chatter going on last year meant there were fewer opportunities for Netflix to capture the kind of behind-the-scenes gems which made previous seasons so compelling. However, they were able to follow their subjects close enough to uncover some telling exchanges and revealing moments. The one driver who appears naked, the most obvious example, I'll leave you to speculate which, although you probably already know by now. The series opens with Daniel Ricciardo's mother asking him on the phone if he remembered to wear a face mask on his way to Australia for a race. Via a flashback to pre-season testing, which sets up some storylines for the season ahead, we get the creeping sense of impending doom ahead of the cancellation of the season opening race. The season hits its stride in the third episode, where the Netflix crew were able to follow the world champions Mercedes at the Russian GP. This went considerably better for Mercedes than the disastrous 2019 German GP, which covered in the previous season, though Lewis Hamilton managed to incur the wrath of the stewards by performing his practice starts in the wrong location. The episode therefore showcases an against the run-off player victory for Valtteri Bottas, as well as some memorable scenes with the driver in Finland pre-race encounter between Mercedes CEO Toto Wolff and race director Michael Masi in a gym proves euphoric of what was to follow. It's a shame, however, we see nothing in the meeting between Hamilton and the stewards, which led to penalty points being rescinded, a rare U-turn which this episode ignores completely. To an extent, it's understandable that details like this are overlooked. F1 is a complicated sport. This is a series targeted at new viewers, and producers already have plenty of explaining to do. Drive to Survive has also been very successful at attracting new viewers. If no number of fans on social media citing the series as their introduction to sport can be taken at face value, and there's something we should be welcoming. The constant exploitation to start's great, however, it comes across in talking head explanations and sections of dialogue as presented as live race commentary, which were completely recorded especially for the series. It's tolerable up to a point, but the hyping up of test and practice sessions in some episodes really is too much. A bit less tell and a bit more show is needed. Like Mercedes, Ferrari granted Netflix access to the team for a single race, as the two did in 2019. On that occasion on Drive to Survive, the team turned up at one of the few late season races where Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc did have some kind of tiff, and the result was a rather forgettable 35 minutes. The Series 3 Ferrari episode is far more compelling, though, like most of last year's championship, it made grim viewing for the Tifosi. It follows the team horror show weekend at Monza, mercilessly probes the debate over the legality of the team's 2019 power unit, and reveals how strained relations between Vettel and Ferrari came following their departure before the season. Similar scenes are found in episode 5, covering Daniel Ricciardo's departure from Renault, where Cyril Abiteboul cuts the unhappiest figure in the series while fuming at the perceived betrayal by his star driver. Abiteboul has plenty of anger left over to direct at the racing point for their pink Mercedes. The fans of F1 will approach Drive to Survive already well aware of how the events show turned out. The most satisfying moment in the series is of course Pierre Gasly's victory, as Red Bull team principal Christian Horner bats suggestions away that they should recall the driver 12 months since they fired him. The opposite is true in the Gunter's Choice episode 7, the least satisfying of the series. Having to play up the concert charmer, Steiner will choose whether to fire Romain Grosjean or Kevin Magnussen when he eventually axed both. The revelation of the final decision comes as an anticlimax revealed in a short news report and at the end of the episode. While Haas's motivation for hiring Mick Schumacher is explored, the visit to a sponsor pitch with one-on-one is the most revealing part of the episode. The existence of Nikita Mazepin is ignored until he is announced as one of the drivers. The reasons for dropping both drivers isn't probed beyond Steiner noting Mazepin's father owns a successful company who may want to feature the team. Unsurprisingly, Grosjean features heavily in another episode called Man on Fire, which describes the Bahrain crash in detail, which borders the unbearable times. In real life, he escaped from a burning cockpit in 27 seconds. In this version, it's over 4 minutes, though one image, it feels like even longer than that. As with many of the big stories this season, it was covered so extensively at the time, there's little more to Netflix to add here. So blending Grosjean's story with that of two other drivers who are facing the loss of their seats at the end of the year, Alex Albon and Sergio Perez's death touch, it's just a shame that, again, the big reveal at the end of the episode, Perez's career being saved by Red Bull, came across awkwardly in a staged phone call by Christian Horner. Given the constraints they had to operate with, however, it's impressive how much the season 3 the Drive to Survive managed to make feel like a usual series. Several of the episodes are as good as the best from previous series. I only wish they dedicated more time to acknowledging the departure of the Williams family, a hugely significant moment in the history of F1's greatest team. The season finale is more functional than threading, though remembering how poor the Abu Dhabi GP was, it's not like they had much to work with. The series comes to a fitting and even provocative end with a reminder of why so many F1 drivers chose to speak out against racism during 2020. It's a vital addition, enhanced by Hamilton speaking with the passion and conviction we came to expect from him on this important subject. As an introduction to the sport and a review of the key moments and themes of the 2020 championship, Drive to Survive is once again a highly entertaining watch. Hey guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, leave me your thoughts and comments down below, and to follow me on Twitter, link and switch below for daily F1 news, and subscribe to my channel that's on the screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace!